Four selfish men visit their mother's funeral because of the inheritance they hope to receive only for them to see her alive and well. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Daily Dose, like, and share this video with your friends. It might brighten their day and inspire them to do good. Also, keep watching because an important lesson awaits at the end of the video. Ella was a widow who lost her husband, John, in a tragic car accident. The man had been a very wealthy businessman, and after he passed on, she inherited all of his properties. Because of this, Ella and her kids, 4 boys she had with John before his death, never suffered. They could easily afford all they needed, so they got the finest things money could afford. Such an upbringing caused them to grow up haughty, and as soon as they were old enough, they all dispersed, leaving an elderly Ella to fend for herself. As time passed, the boys made a life for themselves outside the home, and they totally forgot about their mother. Even when the woman had a heart attack, none of them cared to visit her. Mary, the woman Ella hired to support her in her old age, called them to let them know what state she was in, but they all ignored her. Jay, the eldest boy, even asked Mary not to trouble him next time. "Why exactly have you taken it upon yourself to bother me? If Mom is already in the hospital and doctors are attending to her, then she is out of danger. Why do you need to call me?" he shouted at Mary before disconnecting the call. His words unsettled Mary, who already felt terrible for what was happening to Ella, so she started crying. She was still crying by the time Ella opened her eyes, and the old woman grew concerned. "Are you okay?" Mary asked with a shaky voice. "I tried reaching out to the boys, but—" "It's okay, Mary," the older lady said weakly. Unsurprised the boys had not come. "They are my sons, but I had a feeling they wouldn't come." Ella had not expected them to show up, but she still felt saddened by their absence, so when she rallied slightly, she called her lawyer and adjusted her will, the contents of which were supposed to remain hidden until her death. Nobody expected that death would come knocking a little sooner, so when Mary called Jay a couple of days later to tell him his mother had passed, he was a little stunned. "I'm sorry, Jay," Mary explained. "Her dying wish was for all of her sons to attend her funeral, so I called you." Left to Jay, he would not have been present for the burial because he did not want to travel that far, but then it occurred to him that the lawyer would announce his inheritance. Even if nothing else came of it, the money would be more than enough compensation. So Jay hastily packed some clothes and boarded a plane the next day to say his final goodbyes to his mother. His 3 other siblings, David, Jerry, and Saul, exhibited the same reaction, and they all reunited at their mother's house the following day before the funeral began. They were the first to arrive. Their mom lay inside a coffin looking peaceful in a black dress and diamond jewelry. Jay stood as close to the corpse as he could. Saul looked around and observed that only the 4 of them and Mary were available for the event. "Where is everyone else? Were we the only ones summoned for the funeral?" he asked. "It was your mother's last wish that the funeral be kept private," Mary answered. "The priest will arrive soon, but while we wait, let us bow our heads and pray together for your mother's soul to rest in peace." As she uttered those words, Jerry burst into laughter and said, "I think her soul has been granted rest. Just look at her. Even dead, she's loaded with diamonds. If I was buried that way, I would definitely be at peace." "I agree with Jerry," David added. "Do we really have to be here for the whole ceremony? Some of us have places to be." "Well," Mary said, "your mom loved you boys very deeply. The least you could do to honor her is pray for her one last time and kiss her goodbye." "Listen, Mary," Saul replied. "We came here to meet Mom's lawyer, not Mom. She no longer lives, so we should deal with the living. End this nonsense quickly because we have a meeting with the lawyer." "All right then," Mary said in a pained voice. "But please go see your mother one by one and bid her farewell." The men agreed, and Jay, the eldest, went first. He noticed a slight movement around Ella's eyes as he approached the open coffin. "I must be imagining things. It was a long flight," Jay thought, stunned by what he thought he saw. As he took a couple of more steps closer, he noticed her eyes move some more, and then suddenly, they flew open and gazed directly into his soul. "What is this?" Jay shouted even though he stood rooted in place. "Guys, get over here right now! Mom! Lives!" Confused by their brother's words, Saul and David ran over to the coffin, and right before their eyes, their mother sat up. "Don't look so shocked, boys," Mary said as Ella stood. "Now if you want to go to the lawyer's office, you may go, but know that you'll be met with disappointment because your mother is still alive. Mom, why did you do this? Was this all a joke to you and your maid?" Jay screamed at her. "This is absolutely ridiculous, not to mention manipulative, but you think it's a joke. You guys think I'm a fool." Ella replied, equally raising her voice. She rarely did that, so when she did, all four boys would get terrified, and old as they were, that had not changed. That day, Ella let her rage loose, and it was not a pretty sight. "We didn't mean to make you sad, Mom," Saul started to say, but Ella cut him off. "What did you mean then, huh? After your dad died, I raised all four of you by myself. The only thing I wanted was that you wish me a happy farewell, but all you're here for is my wealth. Do you even have any love for me, or is it just the money? If so, you can take it all." Ella almost burst into tears as she spoke, and her four boys watched miserably, feeling humiliated, having realized how wrong they were. Jay felt especially guilty because he had been 15 when his father died, and he knew what Ella went through. She had to raise all of them while grieving the loss of her husband, and she did a good job. Seeing her sad because of something they'd done made him feel guilty, so he got on his knees to apologize, and his other brothers followed suit. "I'm sorry I caused you so much pain, Mom," Jay said, hugging her. "I should have been nicer to you. Forgive me." "Yes, Mom," David pitched in. "We apologize for our greed, and it will never happen again." Jerry and Saul apologized too and hugged her. "We're sorry, Mom, and from now on, you'll never be alone again. We shouldn't have gotten so engrossed in our own lives that we never bothered to care for you. Forgive us," Saul said. In time, the boys proved how much they'd changed to their mom, and their bond grew strong again. They paid her visits regularly, and at the end of each month, they all got together for dinner at Ella's house. The older woman lived 5 more years surrounded by their love. Then she slipped away in her sleep one night. But before her demise, she made sure to revise her will, leaving half the property to Mary and the rest to be shared among her 4 boys. The will also included a note in which she revealed her love for her boys and how happy they made her feel in her last days. She urged them to forgive her for leaving Mary so much and asked them to live together in peace. The boys took her words to heart, and every year, to celebrate her life, they would all reunite at her grave with a bouquet of her favorite flowers. Of course, they kept communicating with Mary too, and would occasionally spend time with her as well.